Hello, my name is, well, never mind. I'm here to teach you how to master the guitar in 7.5 lessons. I'm sure you've all seen on the computer, okay, we got, here we got 20 lessons. Here we got 2 years. Here we got 3 lessons. Here we got, 8 lessons. I'm talking 7.5. Probably the quickest learning method ever developed. You will learn to play any style with any guitar. 6-string, flat top acoustic. 3-string electric. 1-string classical. It makes no difference. Also, you'll learn to play in any tuning. The standard tuning, there is no standard tuning. That's the beauty of the thing. That's the number one thing of the 12 myths that we will dispel, is the myth of the standard tuning. It's like, are you going to go into the beauty parlor there and say, give me a standard haircut? You're going to walk into the clothing store and say, give me some standard shirts? There is no standard. The standard is your personal choice. That is the standard. Think about the advantages of that. It's your tuning. It's tuned to you. It sounds good to you. A belief in yourself is the first thing you need. And that belief in yourself, that total, strong feeling that you get knowing that I can play Jimi Hendrix. Okay, no, I can't play Jimi Hendrix. I can't play. But yes, I can play Jimi Hendrix. Yes, I can. I can play Jimi Hendrix. You must have that belief in yourself. So myth number 1 of the 12 myths that we are going to dispel, the 12 things the pros don't want you to know. Myth number 1, standard tuning. Standard tuning. We're going to learn how to tune to you. You're going to learn your own tuning. Why should you learn somebody else's tuning? Would you feel comfortable in somebody else's shoes? They're not the right size. These are little girly, red high heels, size 5. I don't feel good in them. Would I learn how to walk? Would I learn how to run? Would I be a good high jumper in these shoes? No. You gotta have your own shoes. Shoes that are comfortable for you. They could be leather, they could be canvas, they could be a man-made material of some sort. Totally synthetic. It makes no difference. Although the natural approach is usually the best. Maybe no shoes. Did you ever think that? I'm going to play barefoot. Why? Because it feels good to me. What kind of tuning am I going to use? I'm going to use one that feels good to me. Myth number 1, standard tuning. I'll teach you, of course, thousands of tunings. Why not? You might find one that fits. It's like walking into a big store and say, there's thousands of pairs of shoes here. There may be one that fits. One that also fits other people. So you may not have a totally personalized tuning. It may be one other people use. It may not be the popular one. The one that you buy, the little mechanical, digital tuner and clip it onto your guitar somewhere and go, oh, let me get the little light to light up. It may not be that kind, but it may be ones that other people use. There are other people in the world who are your height, other people in the world who are your weight, maybe even other people in the world who have the same haircut you do. But that makes no difference. We're going to learn our tuning. My tuning? I put this one wherever I feel good, wherever it feels good. You don't want the string too tight. It's gonna break. You don't want it too loose. Maybe you do want it too loose. You don't want it too loose. I don't like it too loose. It's like, you know, the teddy bears in the bowl of chili. You know what I'm saying? Like it's too hot. It's too cold. Mine's just right. That's what I like mine. I like mine right there. So I say, that's my tuning. I could maybe tune. Maybe I'll only use the one string. I like that so much. Maybe I like that one. Huh? Okay. But many times I prefer all 6 strings. Why? Because almost every guitar you buy out there has 6 of them. Oh, I've seen 12. I've seen 10. I've seen 5. I've seen guitars with broken strings, 3 maybe. But usually when I buy a guitar, new or used, it'll come with all 6. I figure, why not use all 6? Am I going to drive a car if it only has 3 wheels? Although there's a room and a place for a 4th wheel? No, I don't think so. I'm going to use all 4 wheels if when I buy the car, new or used, it has all 4 on there. Not that I'm trying to say it's standard. There are cars without 4 wheels. There's 3-wheel cars. I've seen trucks with 6 wheels. I've seen buses with 10 wheels. There is no standard. Okay, so, but usually they're all 6 on there. I want to use all 6 of them. It's not that I'm greedy. It's just that, why not? Okay, so, how do I tune the rest of the strings? See that right there? That hole? On this particular guitar, later we'll get to guitars without a hole there. But this one has that hole. And the very middle of that hole, there's a sweet little spot on the string. I can go up the string and I can go up the string, but right when I get to about the middle, I get a real nice note. Right there, right in the middle. And I figure, I'm going to tune this string to that middle of that hole. That's my note. It's not C sharp. Now, C sharp. You know, you talk about sharp, you talk about flat. It's like, would you talk about people like that? Hey, he's flat. She's sharp. I don't think so. Or maybe, hey, he's got a tattoo before his name. Tic-tac-toe. Tic-tac-toe. What does it mean? Sharp. Tic-tac-toe. It's totally frivolous. It means nothing. Don't worry about it. Small b. Small b. In English, small b. In some other culture, it might be something else. Flat. It's flat. Makes no difference. You find your note. That's my note. The rest of the strings are no problem once you get that. Once you get that, there's no problem. Remember that place with the little hole right there? Huh? Remember that place with the little hole? I find another place with a little hole. So, everywhere there's notes. No matter where I hit, I got notes on this big string. So I tune wherever I want. I might tune there, and I'll say, okay, I'm going to tune the next one. There it is. I like it. I like that note. You tune it wherever you want. Makes no difference. That's rule number 1. Myth number 2. People tell you about time signatures, beats, measures, meter. All these words, they're just made up. They're made up. They have nothing to do with reality. There's only one beat. There's one beat. Listen to your heart. How many beats does your heart have? It only has one. It's either going or it ain't going. Boom, boom, boom. I can't really feel mine right now, but I'm just imagining it. That's the way it is. Boom, boom. So, boom. That's all. You don't have to count it. You don't have to worry about how many it is. How many beats do you think there's going to go by the time you're at the end of the song? Depends on the song. Some long orchestra piece, Beethoven type music or something, it may be thousands of beats. Thousands of them. Tens of thousands before the end of the song. How many beats there are depend on many things. How fast you want to play. One, 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 one. There's really just one. One, 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 one. They're just 1, 1. Makes no difference. So you got the one beat. Some people say you got to play all even. It's got to be even beats. They buy these little clocks. Say, oh, it's got to be all even. I don't think so. That are the ways the world works. Watch some rain dripping off your roof. You think it's like tick, 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 like a nah, it might be tick, 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 tick. That's the natural way to learn to play. Just like the rain is natural. Raindrops on your roof, listening to them. Tick, 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 tick. Huh? Tick, 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 tick. Then maybe hardly any rain come on. Who knows? It might be a storm. Who knows what's going to happen? So, first thing you got to do is get in tune to yourself. Pick up a guitar. Don't worry about these fancy open tunings like Baghdad, B-A-G-D-A-D, tunings like that. E, D, C sharp. Don't worry about any of them numbers. Don't worry about any of them letters. Don't worry about any of them tic-tac-toe signs. Don't worry about any of them small beats. Simply put it in tune the way you like. So that when you got the tuning, you know that I like that. I like that tuning. I got those 2 strings. I like those 2 strings. What's the next note I like? Whichever one comes to mind. Ooh. Where I want that next one to be. Ooh. I like the sound of that one. That's a power sound. That's called power sound. It's called like heavy metal power sound. So, lesson number 1. Myth dispelled. Standard tuning. Don't listen to the experts. Don't read the books. Don't watch your computer. Don't play with the computer. We're simply talking zeros and ones here. We're talking binary. Note, no note, note, no note. I like the note. I don't like the note. It's very simple. Get your guitar in tune. And then we'll go on to lesson number 2. Thank you. Lesson number 2. This is a part of a series of 7.5 guitar lessons, learning how to master any style on the guitar, any guitar. We learned in our first lesson how to tune the guitar, and we learned about the myth of tuning as part of the 12 myths, the 12 things that professional guitarists do not want you to know. These pros, of course, don't want you to know everything. You're living in some small town somewhere, and here's a baker. He's baking up, the bread. And it's like you come and say, oh, I would like to take lessons and learn how to bake bread. Oh, or maybe I'll Google baking bread. Baking bread. I'm going to Google it. I'm going to bake some bread. You think you're going to get that information? No. It's not going to be straight. It's not on a square. Why? Because you're going to open another store in town baking bread. And there, I've got competition now. You think these professional, we call them pros in the biz, we call them pros. You think they're going to want to teach you what they know so that you can be competition? So you can open up a store and bake some bread just like theirs? I don't think so. So, myth number 1 was tuning. We learned how to tune. I hope you all found your tuning. Myth number 2. Learn chords. Learn some chords. You have to learn these chords. Why? You think it's one size fits all? Like, here, gee, I want to learn an H H13 chord. Huh? Oh, no. You don't want to learn an H13 chord. No, you want to start with a chord that, let's see, let me think now. C chord. Yeah, you want to learn a C chord. Or maybe some other chord. Maybe chords with numbers on them. C, I want to learn C11. Or something like that. You don't need to know any of that. You got your tuning. You got in tune to the way you want in tune. Maybe your tuning wasn't 6 strings. No. Maybe. I think, gee, my tuning is 4 strings. Yeah, I like 4 strings better. Yeah, that's my tuning. We're going to include myth number 2 and 3 together in this lesson because we got 7.5 lessons. Obviously, I can't do 1 myth per lesson or it'd be 12 lessons. It's going to be 7.5 lessons. So we're going to combine myth number 2 and 3, or maybe 4 also. Strums. You have to learn how to strum the guitar. You don't have to learn how to strum the guitar when you're born. Or say, you're not a little baby because maybe you're just going to start crying. But say you're already kind of grown up and you're not a baby anymore and you touch the stove and it's hot. It's on. Somebody left the stove on. Or maybe you turned the stove on and you forgot about it. Makes no difference. Whether it's somebody else or whether it's you. You're the one who touched the stove. What do you do when you touch the stove? Oh, here it is. Stove is hot. I'm going to touch it. I'm going to... There it is. It's natural. The strum is natural. It's strum. It's natural. You got the strum, it's natural. Now that was myth number 4, actually. Myth number 3 is that you have to use all your fingers. I don't use any of my fingers. Well, once in a while I use my fingers. In the last lesson I used my fingers, if you remember that. But I wasn't thinking about the fingers at that time. This is a theoretical situation we're talking about here. So, what if you have no fingers? What if all you have is a thumb? I think the thumb works just perfectly fine. I burned my hand. There I am. What's the name of those chords? I don't know what the name of the chords are. I don't care. I'm making music. It's about self-awareness. It's about self-control. It's not scientific. It's not like Scientology or something like that. This is totally based on feeling, intuition. My intuition says, I burnt my hand. If I didn't burn my hand real bad, my hand might just hurt. I might have been like changing the spark plugs on a motorcycle or a car or an airplane. Whatever has spark plugs, I might be changing those. And that might be like this. I might be like that. I've got a wrench that might go like that. Huh? So maybe it's slow. Might be slow. It might be fast. I burn my hand really bad. Whatever way, you're making the music. What's the music for? The music might be for relaxation. It may be for dancing. Either way, all you need is really your thumb. Now in my special tuning here, when I've got just the 4-string guitar. Now this 4-string guitar can involve any of the 4 strings. We got 6 to choose from. It can be any 4 strings, but this particular one happens to be 4. If yours has more than on it right now, then you can play along with me. If you take this one, the big one, the one that's towards you, they call that the big string. And then I leave them the next one, and then the next one I took off. So I've got what they call the 3 little strings. Why are they little strings? because they seem to be smaller. So 3, and I take it, so I got that one. So you could count and you could say, well, okay, this big one's 1, the next one's 2, so I have 2 on there. 3 is gone. 4, 5, and 6 are all on there. So you can go ahead and take that number 1, the big one. It's the big one. It's number 1. It's the big one. You can take that one off, leave maybe the other one on, take that one off. Huh? Yeah. Okay? And then you can play the same technique I'm playing. In this case, I do use a finger. I use a finger and a thumb. It may be heavy metal. It may be more jazzy. There my hands moving more like I'm shaking somebody's hand. I'm being friendly. It's like more friendly music. So the more friendly music may have this kind of strum. So you got the strum, which comes natural. Spark plug changing. Shaking hands. Burn myself. Burn my hand. You've got anything on here you want to use. You might use just the side of your hand. Just the side of your hand like that. It makes no difference. What happens is you get caught up in the complexity of technique. Oh, this fingering, that fingering, this drum, that particular string, this particular string, 6 strings, 5, 4, 3, big, small. You get hung up on all the technical stuff. That's what the pros do to you. So, that's myth number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Myth number 1 was the last lesson. 2, 3, and 4. We've covered now the 4 of the things the pros don't want you to know. Make some music. Enjoy. Yeah, I know. This was going to be the 3rd lesson in a series of 7.5 lessons on mastering the guitar. If you remember, we were talking about any style of music on any kind of guitar. If you followed lessons 1 and 2, and really you could play from any location on Earth. You get the GPX or whatever it is, and you can figure it out, and from any location you would have been able to play the music and learn the music. And my idea was that it was going to just be 7.5 lessons, but I'm going to have to, they're only letting me have 1 more lesson because of the time constraint and budget, and they didn't really think that the first 2 lessons were really very good. Although we did know that we were dispelling, and I wanted to clear up a few of the things from the first couple of lessons. So we had the 12 things that the professionals, remember, don't want to tell you. They don't want the competition, man. They don't want the competition. They don't want the information out there about mastering guitar, mastering music, being a master musician. So I did tell you I made a mistake on the thing. I told you on the first lesson, I told you about the number 1, the myth of standard tuning. And I was going to also supplement that with the hundreds or possibly more or less of tunings that may be possible, but I hope you watch the video, the number 1 video, dispelling the number 1 myth about standard tuning. And Actually, I said that in lesson number 2, that was in lesson number 1. That's lesson, and that's the myth in lesson number 1. I actually gave you the myth number 2 in lesson number 1 also, about timing, about the beat. Remember the heartbeat and everything, and the rain on the roof and all that. We talked about the beats and the myth of time signatures and those kind of things. So then in lesson number 2, I said that we had the second, third, and fourth myth. So I wanted to correct that. I wanted to make at least one more lesson here where I could correct that for you, because since I covered myth number 1 and number 2 in lesson number 1, both in lesson number 1, myth 1 and 2, then these myths would actually be 3, 4, and 5. The myth of learning chords, strums, and fingering. Which fingers to use? Remember I talked about the thumb and then, but actually when I was talking about thumb, and then I talked about the thumb and first finger, that was supposed to be lesson number 3, the thumb and first lesson. So actually this myth number 5 was supposed to be in lesson number 3. So that means that we still have myth 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. We still have those myths to cover that may or may not get covered because I can only give so many lessons because of different kinds of constraints and just general lack of faith in the kind of things I teach, and questions about my abilities. So that was actually lesson 3 then, that where we covered that. So this is, instead of lesson 3, this is lesson 4. Lesson 4. But just so you can keep track of that, I'm writing it down here. The lesson number 4 was actually the thing about playing on. Remember the playing on with the side of your hand here. You know play on the side of your hand. That was going to be a whole lesson, but so that would have been lesson number 4, and what I call thumb finger myth, the myth of thumb fingers that some professionals think that you should have. So therefore, that would have been myth number 6 on lesson number 4. So that was already covered there, and what should have been, that was lesson 2. So if you look back on lesson 2, you'll see that myth has been covered, and that the myth of the thumb finger myth, and we're talking about the fretting hand. So in essence, then, this is lesson number 5. So this is lesson number 5. Lesson number 5 is about scales. It was going to be about scales. It was going to be this is a very short lesson. Scales. What is a scale? What is a scale? It's a series of notes. What notes? Any notes. It doesn't matter what the series is. Here's a scale for you right here. There's a scale. Right there. Not the kind of scale they want you to practice. That also is involved in let's see, that would have been lesson number 5. Lesson number 5. So that would have been myth. Since that lesson number 4 is myth number 6. The myth number 7 was myth number 7, and lesson number 5 was that you have to practice scales. You're going to go to music schools, they want your money. They pay a lot of money, you walk up and down the halls, everybody's practicing scales. You don't need any scales. Scales are like, I always said, scales are for fish. That's what I always said. Why do we need scales for making music? We don't. Do you hear a scale here? I don't hear a scale there. Do you hear a scale there? I don't hear a scale there. Huh? Okay, so we're not going to talk about that, but so we're gonna get on to one of the more serious lessons, which we call modes. They're the modes that we're going to learn. This would have been lesson 6 then. This would have been lesson 6. And the myth of the modes, we're going to talk about the myth of modes. That was, lesson 5 was the myth 7. So this lesson on modes is, what was that again? That was number 7. They got me all upset now. So this is myth number 8 and 9 actually combined in lesson number 6 about modes. Number 1 myth, Pyrigian myth, the Lexonian myth, Lexonian mode myth, the Lexonian mode myth, and all the different myths have to do with knowing the scales and the different notes in the scale and various important things about those notes. When you're playing the scale, like a do re mi scale like that one, you might say, okay, 1, 2, 3. You could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then, but you're leaving off all fractions. You got no fractions there. You got no decimal point situations happening. You know, like, you think they would say, okay, pi is like 3 and 4 is too much? No. It's got to be like 3 point blah, 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 blah. And there are the notes in between those notes. How can, they'll have you believe this is 1, 2, 3, but what about that one? Is that 1.5? 1.52, 2.53. That's one way of thinking of it. But it's really dispels the notion of myths as a physical phenomena taking place within the realm of physics and astronomy and things like that. So anyhow, we know that that's a myth. The other question that you may be wondering is, yeah, okay. So anyhow, that was lesson number 5, and then lesson number 6 would have been, if I would have been able to do it, would have been the it would have been the it would have been the theory, all the things, all the numbers that you don't need to know, and then it would have been dispelling it would have been dispelling the thing of number 10 and 11, dispelling the myth of the numbers, and then the 7th lesson would have been the classical music, and then all the things and theory, and then the one-eyed theory, of sight reading. That's the half lesson. Just the one-eyed theory of sight reading is the half lesson.